All set for the battle of votes. Election Commission announces mini polls to be held on the 10th of February. Warns strict judicial action against violations.
Observe and investigate. This time also, from 26, we are going to establish with the police.
Preventing laws delays, President Maithripala Sirisena says new High Court judges to be appointed. While assuring rule of law, Chief Justice insists judges must maintain internal independence.
So judges should not canvass for post. They should not go after politicians and others and canvass. They should maintain high standard of integrity.
Diplomacy to solve Ceylon tea ban. Minister Navin Dissanayake says a team of technical officers will engage in talks with Russian officials. Sri Lankan ambassador to Russia says discussions already underway.
And already embassy has approached the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Russia, and we asked Ministry also to help us to overcome these difficult situations.
The biggest blow, more than 1,000 flights cancelled at the world's busiest airport in Atlanta. In sports, regaining the urn, Steve Smith leads Australia to the Ashes series win over England in Perth. Good evening. With the latest developments from across Sri Lanka and around the world on Other Derana 24/7, I'm Indivari Amuatta. We begin with your top story tonight. President Maithripala Sirisena says the government will take measures to increase the number of High Court judges in order to hasten the judicial process in the country. He made this remark at an event held in Colombo this morning.
The annual Conference of Judges 2017, organised by the Judicial Service Association, was held under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena today.
පහුගිය අවුරුදු දෙකක කාලයක් ප්‍රමාද වීම පිළිබඳව මම ජනාධිපති ධුරයට එන්න කලින් බොහෝ අහලා තිබෙනවා. ඒ නිසා අපට වඩා ඉදිරියෙන් අධිකරණ ශාස්ත්‍රයේ කටයුතු කරන රටවල් වල තිබෙන තත්ත්වයන් අධ්‍යයනය කරමින් සැලකිල්ලට ගනිමින් මේ අවශ්‍ය අඩුපාඩුකම් සකස් කර ගැනීම අවශ්‍යයි කියන එකයි අදහස් කරන්නේ. වසර 3කට ආසන්න කාලය තුල දේශපාලන බලපෑම් වලින් තොරව ප්‍රධාන වශයෙන් දේශපාලන ශාස්ත්‍රයේ ප්‍රබලයින්ගේ ඇඟිලි ගැසීම් වලින් තොරව තුරකතන වලින් තොරව විනිශ්චයකාරතුමාලාට තමාගේ තීන්දුව තීරණ ගැනීමට අවශ්‍ය පසුබිම සකස් වී තිබෙන බව මා විශ්වාස කරනවා.
Speaking here, Chief Justice Priyasad Deb pointed out that laws delays are mainly due to criminalization of society, increased population and lack of infrastructure, apart from shortcomings in the judicial system.
From the point of view of the judiciary, we also have to maintain our internal independence. So judges should not canvass for post. They should maintain high standard of integrity. So they should not be influenced by any quarters. And it is for the judges to maintain the independence by their conduct, so that the people will have trust in the judiciary. To avoid loss delays, I think we have to make use of the technology. We are doing hard to adopt the technology, but several instances within the system itself, there are obstacles. I was trying hard to this e-filing in the Supreme Court, and I also attempted, and also Justice Alviara, but the progress is very slow because the office staff is not cooperating. Similarly, now stations also it's same.
Meanwhile, President Maithripala Sirisena met with Prime Minister of Malaysia Najib Razak, who is on an official visit to the island to mark the 60th anniversary of diplomatic relations between the two nations.
The official meeting between President Maithripala Sirisena and the visiting Prime Minister of Malaysia, Najib Razak, was held at the Presidential Secretariat today. The Malaysian Premier was warmly received by President Maithripala Sirisena, while a special guard of honour and a 21-gun salute was accorded to the visiting Premier. After a cordial meeting between the leaders, official bilateral discussions were held. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and several ministers from both countries also took part in the discussion. President Sirisena and the Malaysian Premier agreed to expand existing close cooperation in many fields including trade and investment, agriculture, science and technology. Following the discussions, two memoranda of understanding, namely MOU of Training of Diplomats and Cooperation in Foresight and Science to Action and Memorandum of Collaboration between Coordinating Secretariat for Science, Technology and Innovation of Sri Lanka and Malaysian Bioeconomic Development Corporation, were signed between the two countries. Subsequently, President Sirisena also hosted a luncheon in honour of the visiting Malaysian Prime Minister at the President's official residence.
Moving on to our developing story, revealing the date of the much-awaited local government elections, Chairman of the Elections Commission, Mahinda Deshapriya, confirmed that the election will be held on the 10th of February next year. Making the revelation at a media briefing today, he added that the date will be officially published through a Gazette notification on the 26th of this month. He further stated that from midnight tonight, all election-related promotions should cease across the country, adding that strict judicial action will be taken against those who violate election laws.
We have already established permanent representatives committee to observe election violence, observe and investigate. This time also, from 26, we are going to establish with the police and our officers and representatives from the observer groups and the contesting political party.
Responding to questions raised by journalists, Chairman of the Elections Commission Mahinda Deshapriya also elaborated on guidelines for the media for the upcoming local government elections.
We have issued media guidelines. We have already gazetted and can directly control only the government institute. But other institutes, we think, especially the electronic media, so please don't misuse that. Everyone in our country believes what you can read from the print media. They think that it is true. I too. So, please always give the publicity for all the parties, candidates, equal treatment.
Meanwhile, submission of election nominations for the 248 local government bodies commenced today. The deadline for the submission of nominations falls at noon on Thursday, the 25th of December.
In the first phase of nomination submission, which concluded on the 14th of December, political parties as well as independent groups submitted nominations for 93 out of 341 local government bodies. The Election Commission accepted 496 nomination papers while 23 papers were rejected. Commencing the second phase, the UPFA submitted nominations for Passara Pradeshiya Sabha in Badula district today. Meanwhile, political parties continued to deposit bonds for the upcoming elections ahead of an impending deadline at noon on Wednesday. Accordingly, UPFA, UNP as well as United National Freedom Front deposited bonds for the Colombo Municipal Council today.
සත්‍යාදී පක්ෂ තමයි කොළඹ නගර සභාවේ හැමදාම දිනුවේ. එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂ දැන් පිළිකුල් වෙලා තියෙනවා. මේ බොන් සම්බන්ධව අල්ල සම්බන්ධව ජනතා අතර එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂේ එපාවලා තියෙනවා. ඒක නිසා අපිට දිනන්න ලේසියි. පොදු ජන පෙරමුණයි ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ දත් පක්ෂයයි ප්‍රබල දෙකක් තරඟවදී ගමතුමාලා.
ඔබතුමාට ප්‍රබල වුණාට අපිට ඒක සරල වශයෙන් අපි ගණන් ගන්නේ. අපි එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂේ රටකට වැඩක් කළ තියෙන පක්ෂයක්.
The SLFP meanwhile deposited bonds for many local government bodies in the Gampaha district, while Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna placed deposits for all local government bodies in the district.
There is a small challenge for us because it is the members of the SLFP who contest under the flower bud symbol, but we are ready to face the challenge.
The SLFP also placed deposit for all the local government bodies in the Kurunegala district.
ග්‍රාමීය වශයෙන් ජනතාව යම් යම් කලකිරීම වල ඉන්නවා කියලා අපි දන්නවා. ආණ්ඩුව කෙරෙහිත් සමහර ගත තීන්දුව తీරන ගැනත් මම හිතන්නේ අධිකරු ජනාධිපතිතුමා ගැන විශාල විශ්වාසයක් ගොඩනැගිලා තියෙනවා. ඉතින් අපි බලමු කොහොමද ඒක ජනතාවගේ පැත්ත තීරණය වෙන්නේ කියලා.
Meanwhile, the UPFA, UNP as well as Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna placed deposits for Kalutara district today. Meanwhile, Darshana Balasuriya, who hoped to contest under the SLPP from the Ampegam electorate in Galle district, was seen extremely disappointed after learning that his name was removed from the list of nominations. Meanwhile, a group of individuals forcefully entered the house of former Western Provincial Councillor Ernie Kitulgoda and took away the UPFA nomination paper for the Horana Pradeshiya Sabha and other relevant documents. In the meantime, a media briefing was held on the election laws at the police headquarters today.
අද සිට තමයි මේ පළාත් පාලන ආයතන ඡන්ද විමසීමේ ආඥා පනත මුළු දිවයින පුරාම එකලසම ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙන්න පටන් ගන්න. අපි වැඩි අවධානයක් යොමු කරලා තිබෙනවා පෙළපාලි යාම වැළැක්වීම සඳහා. මේ වන විට පළාත් පාලන ආයතන ඡන්ද විමසීමට අදාළව පැමිණිලි 7ක් ලැබිලා තිබෙනවා. මේ පැමිණිලි වලට අදාළව දැනට සැකකරුවන් 4 දෙනෙක් අත්අඩංගුවට අරන් තිබෙනවා. මේ අත්අඩංගුවට ගන්නා ලද සැකකරුවන් අතර අපේක්ෂකයෙකුත් සිටිනවා. මේ සැකකරුවන් 4 දෙනාවම එළඹෙන 21 දින දක්වා රක්ෂිත බන්ධනාගාර ගත කරලායි තිබෙන්නේ.
And the local government elections was the top topic discussed at the political arena during the day.
මගේ විශ්වාසය කාටවත් 150ක් ගන්න බැරි. එහෙනම් අපිට ඕන නම් ප්‍රාදේශ සභාව පොට්ටු එකක් හදන්න පුළුවන්. ඕන නම් UNP එකක් හදන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක තීන්දුව කරන්නේ අපි.
එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයේ එකතු වෙලා ඡන්දෙ ඉල්ලන්නේ. උන් කන්නේ හවුලේ.
මේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂ කට්ටියටමනේ පාඩම් උගන්වන්න හදන්නේ. මේක පාඩම උගන්වන්නකෝ ජනතා විමුක්ති පෙරමුණේ අයට පාඩම උගන්වන්නකෝ එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයේ අයට.
අපරාධකාරයන්ගේ දූෂිතයන්ගේ තිප්පොළවල් තමයි මේ ප්‍රාදේශ සභාව.
දැන් ජනතා විමුක්ති පෙරමුණ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ ඉතිහාසය ප්‍රතික්ෂේප කරනවා. නැති වෙච්ච ඩෙන්ටිටි කාඩ් ප්‍රමාණය පමණක් දහස් ගාන. ඒ ඩෙන්ටිටි කාඩ් අහිමි වෙච්ච මිනිස්සු තාමත් බලන් ඉන්නවා ජනතා විමුක්ති පෙරමුණ අරගෙන ගිය ඩෙන්ටිටි කාඩ් ලැබෙන තුරු.
ඡන්ද කාලෙදී මොටරසයිකල්ුත් බෙදනවා දැන් මේ පුෂ් සයිකල්ුත් බෙදනවා. ඊට කාර් බෙදන්න පටන් ගන්න දන්නේ නැහැ.
හැම ප්‍රවෘත්තියකම සිමෙන්ති පොට්ට බෙදනවා, සල්ලි බෙදනවා, මැෂින් බෙදනවා. මේක මැතිවරණ කොමසාරිස්ට පේන්නේ නැහැ. දැන් මම ඊටවාට කිව්වා මේ රූපවාහිනිය අපි දැක්කම මෙහෙම එකක්. බුදුමා දැක්කේ නැද්ද? නැතේ කිව්වා.
On to the latest developments on Russian ban on Ceylon tea. Minister of Plantation Industries Navin Dissanayake says that a team of technical officers are due to engage in high-level talks in Russia this week over Russia's temporary ban on importing tea from Sri Lanka. Meanwhile, Sri Lankan ambassador to Russia, Dr. Saman Veerasinghe, said that both countries should work together in order to lift the ban as soon as possible. The ban came into effect from last midnight.
Sri Lankan technical delegation of high-level officials is scheduled to arrive in Moscow next week. So they will, first of all, they will negotiate this matter and discuss this with the Ministry of Agriculture and with the other Russian counterparts. I think maybe after these technical discussions, after this meeting, so we can see the next step, because I hope now we both countries should work together to move this accession as soon as possible. Tomorrow, also I am meeting with the Intergovernmental Trade Commission Chairman, Deputy Agriculture Minister. Tomorrow I am meeting, and already Embassy has approached the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Russia, and we asked Ministry also to help us to overcome this difficult situation. Within very short time, we can get some positive answer from Russian government.
මේ තාක්ෂණික කණ්ඩායමේ බලාපොරොත්තුව තමයි ඒ අවශ්‍ය ගුණාත්මක භාවය සනාථ කරන්නත් අපගේ යම්කිසි අඩුපාඩුකම් තිබෙනවා නම් එතන තිබෙන අඩුපාඩුකම් අඩු කරන්නත් අපගේ බලාපොරොත්තුව.
Meanwhile, Chairman of the Tea Research Institute of Sri Lanka, Dr. M.M.J.G. Gavaramana, affirmed that this is the first time a capra beetle was found in a consignment of tea, the discovery of which prompted the ban.
ශ්‍රී ලංකාවෙන් තේ අපනයනය කරන ලද ඒ බහලුමක එහෙම නැත්නම් කන්ටේනර් එකක තිබිලා හමු වී ඇති බව තමයි වාර්තා වෙන්නේ. මේ කප්‍රා බීටල් කියන මේ කුරුමිනි විශේෂය ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ තේ කර්මාන්තයේ හෝ නැත්නම් තේ වගාවේ හෝ වෙනත් කිසිම වගාවක හමු වී නැති ක්‍රමයක්.
Speaking to First at 9, Chairman of the Tea Exporters Association, Jayanta Karunaratne, expressed the following views.
There are a lot of meetings with the ministry and, various places. Still, nothing has happened, but we hope something positive should happen, most probably next week or so. So at the moment, the ban is on, so the exporters are not making any shipments at the moment. We hope these things will be sorted, but at the moment, I think we have stopped shipments, and also there was no big impact at the Colombo auction. We'll have to wait and see next 1-2 weeks.
Meanwhile, several parties expressed the following views pertaining to the incident.
අපි හිතන්නේ ක්‍රමීන් තේවල සිටීම නිසා ලෝකයේ මහා සුපිරි බලවතෙක් වන රුසියාව එක්වරම ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ තේ තහනම් කරයි කියලා අපි විශ්වාස කරන්නේ නැහැ.
හැම දෙයකටම උපදේශකයෝ ගෙන්නන්නේ ඇමරිකාවේ. රුසියාව මේවා දන්නවා. රුසියාව මේවා දන්න නිසා පොඩි වරදක් සිදු වුණත් ඒ වරද ඒගොල්ලන් බරපතලව ගන්න. මේක බේරලා දෙන්නම් ආණ්ඩුවේ ඇමරිකාවට තිරිකුණාමල වරාය දීමට තියෙන සූදානම්. මේක නවත්වන්න ඕන.
විශාල ප්‍රශ්නයක් වෙනවා. කුරුමිනියෙක් නිසාම නැවතුවද එහෙම නැත්නම් වෙන යම් හේතුන් නිසා නැවතුණාද කියන එක අපි සලකලා බලලා ඒක සොයාගෙන අපි ඒ අනුව කටයුතු කළ යුතුයි.
You are watching
Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
The first phase of awarding scholarships under the Derana Sri Lanka National Scholarship Programme was worked off today in Colombo. The programme is jointly organised by Manusat Derana and the Korea Sri Lanka Forum.
Manusat Derana.
Under the Derana Korea Sri Lanka National Scholarship Programme, a monthly scholarship allowance is to be provided to address educational needs of children affected by natural disasters in 2016 and 2017. 20 selected school children were awarded scholarships, while distribution of school supplies and uniforms to students was also carried out.
රවිදු ලක්ෂාන්ට අපි ඊළඟට ආරාධනා කරන රවිදු පුඩා ලැබිලා තියෙන්නේ අදින පොදු සාධික පද
Well, in business tonight, the Sri Lankan economy grew 3.3% in the third quarter of this year compared to 4.1% in the third quarter of the previous year. At 56.3%, service was the biggest contributor to the growth in GDP and continued to expand further by 4.3% as the performance in financial service activities, telecommunication, human health activities and insurance recorded an upward trend. Industrial activities, which saw a marginal growth rate of 1.9%, contributed 27.8% to GDP in the third quarter, with vast improvement in the construction sector, followed by manufacturing. However, overall agricultural activities, which contributed 7.6%, recorded a negative growth rate of 3.3% in the third quarter of 2017, the lowest recorded growth rate in the third quarter series since 2010. And oil prices rose today amid an ongoing North Sea pipeline outage and because a strike by Nigerian oil prices and workers threatened the country's crude exports. Signs that booming U.S. crude output growth may be slowing also supported crude prices, although the 2018 outlook still points to ample supply despite production cuts led by OPEC. Brent crude futures, the international benchmark for oil prices, were at $63.72 a barrel, up 0.8% from their last close. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures were at $57.70 a barrel, up 0.7%. Still in international business news, China's top leaders have begun an annual meeting to map out economic and reform plans for 2018. The closed-door Central Economic Work Conference is keenly watched by investors for clues on policy priorities and key economic targets for the year ahead.
The meeting will focus on implementing agendas laid out by a key Communist Party Congress held in October. At a Politburo meeting earlier this month, top leaders pledged to deepen structural reforms and curb risks while maintaining steady economic growth in 2018. Key economic targets for 2018 are likely to be set during the top-level meeting but are not expected to be announced until the annual parliament meeting in March. China's leaders are reportedly likely to maintain this year's growth target of around 6.5% in 2018, even as they ratchet up efforts to control systematic risks from a rapid build-up of debt in the world's second-largest economy.
And Colombo shares fell for a second straight session today to hit their lowest close in more than 8 months as investors offloaded plantation and telecommunication stocks. The all share price index ended 0.09% weaker at 6,346.70, its lowest close since the 11th of April this year. It lost 0.4% last week, its sixth consecutive weekly decline. We now have Imeshi Fernando from the Colombo Stock Exchange for the latest.
The market capitalization at the end of the day was 2,889.71 billion rupees. Top 5 gainers of the day were Ceylon Printers, Adam Capital, Samsung International, Renuka Foods non-voting and Alufab, while the top 5 losers were Blue Diamonds non-voting, Hapukastanna Plantations, Agalawatha Plantations, Swarna Mahal Financial Services and Muskelia Plantations. Today's foreign purchases were 149.76 million rupees and foreign sales were 78 million rupees.
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
In international news, one of the heaviest travel weeks of the year began with the cancellation of more than 1,000 flights yesterday at the world's busiest airport in Atlanta due to a power outage that lasted nearly 11 hours. The airport handles more than 250,000 passengers and almost 2,500 flights daily.
A power cut at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport yesterday led to a partial shutdown affecting tens of thousands of people. Passengers were left stranded in darkness in terminals and in aircraft idling on tarmacs.
We get to the airport and we arrive to darkness and 1 million people and we're like, oh no, not again.
This is a mess for the last 3 hours. I mean, things happen. If the power went out, understandable. But not to have a backup plan, nobody coming out telling us what's going on.
Power was restored at the airport close to midnight local time yesterday. However, there have been more than 1,000 flight cancellations and many flights scheduled to arrive from other airports were being diverted elsewhere or held at their departure airport. The company which supplies the airport's electricity said it believed a fire at an underground electrical facility was to blame for the power failure.
And US President Donald Trump insists that he is not planning to fire Special Counsel Robert Mueller, who is leading an investigation into alleged Russian interference in the 2016 United States elections and alleged collusion between Trump and Russia.
Democratic lawmakers in recent days have expressed concern that Trump might fire Special Counsel Robert Mueller as his probe into Russian election meddling deepens. On Saturday, a lawyer for Trump's presidential transition group alleged that thousands of emails had been unlawfully obtained by Mueller's team. Responding to questions over the legal row, Trump said his people were very upset about the matter.
I can't imagine there's anything on him, frankly, because, as we said, there's no collusion. Do you feel the integrity firing? No, I'm not. No. What else? What, are you surprised?
Here's a look at other stories making news from around the world.
Austria's new coalition government between Conservatives and the far right was sworn in Vienna, headed by new Chancellor Sebastian Kurz, the world's youngest leader at 31 years of age. The far-right Freedom Party and Kurz's People's Party plan to implement stricter rules for asylum seekers after immigration proved a major concern for Austrian voters. Conservative billionaire and former President Sebastian Piñera won Chile's presidential election runoff, polling more than 54%. His left-wing opponent Alejandro Guille conceded and congratulated his opponent on his return to the presidency after a 4-year gap. At least 26 people were killed while several were missing in central Philippines after tropical storm Kai-tak brought heavy rains that triggered landslides. Kai-tak cut power supplies and damaged bridges in many areas, forced the cancellation of several flights and prompted nearly 88,000 people to seek shelter in evacuation centres. 12 people died in a fire that broke out early this morning inside a sweet shop in Mumbai, India. All 12 victims, reported to be employees at the shop, had been rescued but died on the way to the hospital. The cause of the fire is under investigation.
You are watching Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Well, in another weekend encounter of the Rugby League, Sri Lanka Army registered victory over Air Force with a scoreline of 33-32 at the racecourse yesterday.
Stepping into the playgrounds, both sides displayed aggression in seeking points. Air Force stood ahead at the end of the first half, scoring 22, while Sri Lanka Army could only score 12. Bouncing back, Sri Lanka Army scored 21 more points, extending their total to 33. Despite leading the first half, Air Force could only score 10 more points and were outperformed by Sri Lanka Army.
And Australia stormed to a massive win as England were not good enough to escape with a draw from the third Ashes Test match. The coveted urn will return to Australia as they won the series 3-0 despite 2 more matches remaining.
Resuming from the overnight score of 549 for 4 yesterday, Australia added 113 more runs to their innings with 5 more wickets falling. Steve Smith scored a brilliant 239 runs while Mitchell Marsh scored 181 runs. Australian skipper Steve Smith, however, declared at 662 for 9. England started their innings in arrears of 269 runs. The top 4 were seen back in the stands within 100 runs. England was 132 for the loss of 4 at stumps yesterday. They, however, lost their remaining 6 wickets within 218 runs, losing by an inning and 41 runs.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
And now we cross over to the Weather Centre for your forecast first evening edition.
Good evening and welcome to Forecast First. Now, if you take a look at the map, you can see that temperatures are to vary between 18 and 30 degrees Celsius, with the highest temperature recorded in the southern region of the island. Now, you can see a formation of a low pressure zone in the northern and eastern region of the island, which will gradually develop over the course of the day. Now, this could bring some heavy showers in the northern region of the island, particularly in Jaffna, Patiklo and Trincomalee. Moving downwards, you can also see some wet weather to be expected in the western and southern region of the island, particularly Colombo and Galle, and into the central hills of the Kandy over the next 24 hours. That is it from your Weather Centre tonight. Let's now take a quick look at your City by City forecast.
That's all from the news tonight, but let's leave on this note. Will Sri Lanka be a sought-after paradise island for destination weddings? Well, love is in the air as 50 couples from China tied the knot in traditional Kandyan and Western attire at the premises of the Colombo Municipal Council yesterday. Enjoy the visuals. Good evening.
Bringing you the news and information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.